Now we shall move toward the third scientific session, which is on National Immunization Day by Miss Ansi Lijan, Assistant Professor at Chirai College of Nursing. Going through her educational qualifications, Madam has completed her BSc in Nursing in the year 2012 from Prigyan College of Nursing. She had completed her MSc in Obs and Gynecological Nursing in the year 2015 from Prigyan College of Nursing. She has 6 years of experience in teaching field. After her BSc in Nursing, she worked in Chirayu College of Nursing as clinical instructor for an year. Later, after her MSc, she had an year of experience from Choitram College of Nursing, Indore, as assistant lecturer. She was counselor for antenatal mothers in Choitram Healthy Mother and Healthy Baby Cell. She was also a team member of SWA Choitram Natural Birthing Center. For the past 4 years, she has been working for Chirayu College of Nursing. At present, she is assistant professor and coordinator of BSc Nursing first year 2020-21 batch. I now request Madam to commence the scientific session.
Thank you, Mr. Pratish. Hope I'm audible to you.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, my slides are visible.
Yes, they are visible.
Okay. So good afternoon to all to this virtual gathering. Today we are here for observing a observance. That means we are celebrating certain days. So that is World Tuberculosis Day, Glaucoma Day, and National Immunization Day. So today I have got the topic that is National Immunization Day. So all of you are quite aware that National Immunization Day in India is conducted on 16th March. So basically in India, we always focus on immunization because we have 1/3 of the population which is consisting of children. So we should be always focusing on this immunization because many of the disease can be prevented at basic stage itself if you are properly vaccinating your children. So usually in India on 16th March, National Immunization is celebrated. So my session will include beginning of vaccination, immunization program in India, National Immunization Day theme, immunization, what is immunization, immunizing agents, principles of immunization, type of vaccine, immunization schedule, new activities by Government of India, new vaccines which are introduced, new initiative in vaccine logistic and cold chain management, role of healthcare professionals. So these all are the topics which is included in my session today. So as I already said that on 16th March, every year, usually we celebrate this National Vaccination Day. So did you know that India has one of the largest universal immunization program in the world in terms of human resources and massive quantities of vaccine used? So India, we should be proud that being an Indian, we are using massive quantities of vaccine. And even we are one of the leading producers of vaccine in India. Like India is a leading producer of vaccine. So we should be proud about that. So why we celebrate this vaccination day every year? So there is a reason behind why we are celebrating this in India every year. So I have found out research which states that this research is conducted by Ramanan Lakshminarayan and Nirmala Ganguly. The research says that half of Indian children are not fully immunized, and what can be and what should be done. Although India is a leading producer and exporter of vaccine, the country is a home to 1/3 of world's unimmunized children. Fewer than 44% of Indians' young children receive the full schedule of immunization. India's vaccine deficit has several causes: little investment by the government, a focus on polio eradication at the expense of other immunization, and poorly educated population. So in the past slide, I have told you that we should be proud that we are the leading producer of vaccine, and even we are exporting the vaccine. But the record shows, or the statistical data shows, that 44% of Indian children are still not even like getting all those full immunization schedule. I'm talking about the complete immunization schedule. That means from the birth till the 16 years. So all the immunization one children should be like covered. So that is lacking, and India is still far behind that 100% coverage of full vaccination. So this is the reason what I have found that we should celebrate every year immunization day. So this is a statistics of actually 2019. What it says that 2018, what it says that, just a second. So what it says that an estimated 19.4 million infants worldwide were not reached with the routine immunization services. So almost a 19.4 million infants still in particular 10 countries, they are not actually getting all this vaccination or the routine immunization which is provided by the country. So I'm not focusing on the all other 9 countries, but here we have our country in this particular routine immunization where we lag behind and our children are not getting vaccinated. So how this vaccination actually began? The concept of vaccination began by the famous scientist that is Edward Jenner, was an English physician and scientist who pioneered the concept of vaccination, including creating smallpox vaccination, the world's first vaccine. So the world's first vaccine was actually like discovered by Edward Jenner. So this is how the concept of vaccination began. So here you can see an image that Edward Jenner vaccinating. So previously also you could see that the same concept of vaccination was followed in those scenarios, and still we are following the same concept of vaccination. So we'll be focusing on immunization program in India. So we are celebrating National Immunization Day. So we will be focusing on immunization program in India. Immunization program in India was introduced in 1978 as Expanded Program of Immunization, EPI. The program gained momentum in 1985 and was expanded as Universal Immunization Program, that is UPI, to be implemented in a phased manner to cover all districts in the country by 1989 to 1990. UIP became a part of child surveillance and safe motherhood program in 1992. Since 1997, immunization activities have been an important component of National Reproductive and Child Health Program, and is currently one of the key areas under National Rural Health Mission, NRHM, since 2005. So currently this immunization program is in India comes under this National Rural Health Mission, which is actually since 2005. Under the UIP, Government of India is providing vaccination to prevent 7 vaccine preventable diseases, that is diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, polio, measles, severe forms of childhood tuberculosis, and hepatitis B. Haemophilus influenza type B, that is HIT, and diarrhea, which is rotavirus. The major 2 milestones which UIP has achieved is they have eliminated polio completely from India. In the last reported case in India was in 2014, and even maternal and neonatal tetanus is eliminated in 2015. So, so we are celebrating this National Immunization Day. So currently the theme of this particular immunization day is vaccine works for all. So in the image, you can see various age groups. There are older people, there are infants, there are children, there are adolescents. So this vaccine does not have any kind of discrimination. It will work for everyone. So everyone, according to their age, the particular dose of vaccine should be taken. So previously, like in 2020, the theme of this National Immunization Day was the same, that is vaccine works for all. Now, you ask me why both the year this theme is the same means, it is because last year we all are aware. We were not focusing on any other days, but we were just focusing on COVID-19. So this particular theme wasn't achieved last year. So that's the reason why 2020 theme and 2021 theme is the same. So now what is immunization? So immunization is a process whereby a person is made immune or resistant to an infectious disease, typically by the administration of vaccine. So immunization is just a process, and it is done with the help of certain vaccines, which can be in the form of killed vaccine, live vaccines, toxoids can be there, and even certain immunoglobulins are used as vaccines. So this is regarding immunization. So there are certain immunizing agents. Now we are telling about immunization. So there should be certain things which will be used for that particular procedure. So that is vaccines, immunoglobulins and anti-serums are used as vaccines to prevent vaccine preventable diseases. So how this vaccine works in our body. So this image is quite like it gives a picture how vaccine is working in our body. So a weak or dead form of germ is introduced. This sparks your immune response to develop antibodies that remember the germ. The antibodies fight off the germ if it invades again. So how this complete vaccination theme works means in your body, a form of live vaccine or killed vaccine is introduced. So after it is being introduced, certain immune responses are provided or certain immune responses are created in your body. So whenever next time your body is getting affected by that particular germ, this immune responses will try to fight against those particular germs. So this is how a vaccine works in our body. So there are certain principles of immunization. Whenever you're providing immunization, as nursing students, we are nursing students and nursing faculties and all eminent people here. Normally, we should always focus on the principles of immunization. And nursing students, they are participating in various immunization programs these days. Even we are sending our children for various immunization programs. So we should know certain principles of this immunization. A minimum interval of 4 weeks is essential between administration of 2 live vaccines. So whenever you are administering 2 live vaccine, there should be an interval of 4 weeks. 2 or more killed antigen can be administered simultaneously or at any interval. If any relapse in administration occur, the mist can be given to resume the course. So this is very important because in India, we are talking about full coverage of vaccine. So there are relapses because of poor education. The mother or the family is not properly educated. They don't know the importance of immunization. So whenever there is a relapse of vaccination, the missed dose should be given to the child to resume that particular course. If immunization status of children is unknown, he may be given age appropriate vaccines. If we don't know the schedule, what the child has got previously, so we can start with the current appropriate age vaccine. Do not mix vaccines in the same syringe. So this is very important to nurses that we should not use same syringes while administering vaccine, not only vaccine, but any drugs, we should not be using the same syringe. So there are certain types of vaccines. So first one is inactivated vaccine, or you can say killed vaccine, live vaccine, subunit, recombinant, polysaccharide, and conjugate vaccine, and toxoid vaccines. So first one is inactivated vaccine. In the image, you could see the example for this is rabies vaccines. So inactivated vaccine use the killed version of the germ that causes disease. Inactivated vaccines usually don't provide immunity that's as strong as live vaccine. Several dose over time or booster shots in order to get ongoing immunity against the disease. Inactivated vaccines are used to protect against polio. That is, today, like in 2014, IPV, or you can say inactivated polio vaccine is actually introduced. So this is a form of killed vaccine. So these are the examples of inactivated vaccine. So what is live vaccine? Live vaccine use a weakened form of germs that causes disease. They create a strong and long-lasting immune response. 1 or 2 doses of most live vaccines can be given in a lifetime for protection against the germ and the disease it causes. Live vaccines are OPV, MMR, and rotavirus. So killed vaccines means the germ is dead, and live vaccines means it is using a form of weak form of that particular germ which is causing that disease. So what are toxoids? Toxoids is a third type of vaccination. So toxoid vaccines create immunity to the part of the germ that causes a disease instead of the germ itself. Like some other type of vaccine, it requires booster shots to get ongoing protection against diseases. Toxoid vaccines are used to protect against diphtheria and tetanus. So toxoid vaccines, what they do is they provide immunity against certain part of the particular germ, which is actually causing the disease. It's not creating the complete germ, but only creating those part of that particular germ, which is causing this particular disease. So next type is subunit, conjugate, subunit, recombinant, polysaccharide, and conjugate vaccine. So this type of vaccine uses specific piece of the germ, like its protein, sugar, or capsid, are causing around of the germ. They give a very strong immune response that's targeted to key part of the germ. These vaccines are used to protect HIB, hepatitis B, and HPV, that is human papilloma virus. So this type of vaccine uses certain piece of that particular germ, that is its protein or its sugar form or its capsid form. So next form of vaccine is combined vaccine. So from the word itself, it is quite understandable that combined vaccine means different types of vaccines are combined together and it is administered. So the example is DPT or MMR, you can say diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, and measles, mumps, or rubella. So these are three different vaccines which are combined together and vaccinated. So this is usually a good procedure where DPT, MMR, these particular vaccines are given together, because in India, we are lagging behind because our children are not getting completely immunized with all the vaccine. So whenever we are combining certain vaccines together, so what you're doing is you are reducing that immunization schedule or reducing the amount of that immunization. So this is a very good like procedure which is followed by government of India, and worldwide it's followed actually, so that the number of vaccines has been reduced. So this you all are quite aware, but as we have students here, so that's why I'm taking this. That is national immunization schedule. So at the infant level, normally a child at birth is vaccinated with BCG, that is Bacillus calmette-guerin, and hepatitis B and OPV bird dose. So this is usually given to child at birth, and OPV 1, 2, 3. IPV, this is, so we have already told, we have been already said about this birth vaccines, that is BCG, hepatitis B, and OPV. So after that, after birth doses, at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks, three vaccines are given, that is OPV 1, 2, 3. Sorry.
Your audio is not clear, madam.
Is it clear now?
Yes, now it's audible.
So
Kindly
till now it
continue.
wasn't audible?
No, not till now. Just for a minute it was not audible.
Okay, I'm sorry. Some connectivity issues. So actually at birth, the vaccines which we give for an infant is BCG, hepatitis B, and OPV doses. So after birth, what all vaccines you give normally to a child, like when it should be given is at 6 weeks, at 10 weeks, and at 14 weeks, we give OPV, then we give pentavalent 1, 2, 3, and rotavirus. So these three weeks, we usually give this three vaccines, that is OPV, oral polio vaccine. Then pentavalent vaccine means it includes five vaccines, that is diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, HIB, and hepatitis B. So pentavalent vaccine means five vaccine is included at the same time, that is DPT, hepatitis B, and HIB vaccine. So we usually give rotavirus also. So at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks, we give this three vaccines. And in between, you could see at 14 weeks, these days, we are giving IPV, that is inactivated polio vaccine. So after 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks, that concept is completely over now. So after that, from 9 completed months till 12 months, the vaccine which is administered is MMR. MMR's first dose is given at 9 completed months till 12 months. So if the child has not got that particular MMR vaccine at 9 months till 12 months, then that child can receive it till 5 years of age. So vitamin A dose, vitamin A first dose is given at 9 months. So the dose of this particular vaccine is 1 ml, that is 1 lakh international unit, and the route of administration is oral. So I haven't said about the doses, routes, and sites because I know you have been studying this since first year. So BCG, the route is intradermal, the site is left upper arm, and the dose is 0.1 ml. And hepatitis B bird dose is 0.5 ml intramuscular, anterolateral side of mid thigh, that is on the left. OPV, you all know, 2 drops oral. OPV 1 to 3, 2 drops oral. So IPV 14 weeks, 0.5 ml intramuscular, anterolateral side of mid thigh, that is right. Pentavalent vaccine, which is given on 6, 10, and 14 weeks. The dose is 0.5 ml intramuscular, anterolateral side of mid thigh left. Rotavirus vaccine is given 5 drops orally. MMR dose is given 0.5 ml subcutaneous right upper arm, and vitamin A dose at 9 months with measles 1 lakh international 1 ml is given, that is 1 lakh international unit, which is given orally. So this was about infants. Now we move towards the children's. What all vaccine the children has to receive? That means DPT first booster dose should be received at 16 to 24 months, 0.5 ml intramuscular, anterolateral side of mid thigh left. OPV booster is also received in 16 to 24 months, 2 drops oral. MMR second dose is given in 16 to 24 months, 0.5 ml subcutaneous right upper arm. And vitamin A second dose to 9th dose, which is given from 16th month. So after 16th month, once it's given, then in every 6 months, the child, whenever the child is getting 5 years, he or she has to receive this second dose of vitamin A. That is usually administered orally. So the vaccines which is given for the pregnant women are tetanus toxoid 1 and tetanus toxoid 2. So TT1 can be taken as early in the pregnancy, and TT2 at 4 weeks after the first dose of tetanus toxoid. So this is about the national immunization schedule. So what is this pentavalent vaccine and how effective it is in India? So there is a research which supports or which says that it is quite effective in India. So pentavalent vaccine, a major breakthrough in India, universal immunization program. So this research was actually done by Mohan Bhairava and Manju Pilani et al. Conducted that study. Immunization is one of the most important public health intervention and a cost-effective strategy to control the infectious disease, especially in children. Complete immunization coverage in India has increased from below 20% in the 1980s to nearly 61% at present. But still, more than 1/3 children remains unimmunized. Pentavalent vaccine against 5 killer diseases, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis B, and influenza, Haemophilus influenza type B, Hib vaccine. The use of pentavalent vaccine automatically raises the coverage level of hepatitis B and Hib vaccine. If the vaccine are provided individually, the coverage of hepatitis B and Hib vaccine usually lags behind DPT coverage. So after the introduction of this pentavalent vaccine, all the vaccines are given together. So what we have seen in an Indian scenario is hepatitis and Hib vaccine ratio. The children who are getting this particular vaccine, the coverage in India has grown high. So that is the major breakthrough. So this we were telling about the concept of immunization. This is nothing new, but everything you might have studied somewhere during your professional career courses. So what's new? What government of India is doing for this particular immunization day? What all new things they are introducing? So the first thing I would like to tell you about Mission Indradhanush. This is a concept of Government of India, which is launched in December 2014. So its basic aim is to increase complete full immunization coverage so that at least in India, 90% of the children should get complete coverage of all vaccination, which is actually provided by Government of India. So that is the basic aim of this mission Indradhanush. A total 6 phases of mission Indradhanush has been completed, covering 554 districts across the country. While the first 2 phases of mission Indradhanush resulted in 6.7 increase in full immunization coverage in a year, and it showed 18.5 increase in full immunization coverage in 2015 to 16. So in the starting itself, when in 2014 it was started, this particular mission, in the starting year itself, it showed that 6.5% of full immunization coverage has been increased in our country. And by 2016, by the end of 2016, it states that 18.5% of immunization coverage has been increased in India. So what they are planning now, so after all this COVID pandemic issues, now how they are restarting this particular program in India means they have started with IMI 3.0, that means Mission Indradhanush 3.0. It basically consists of 2 rounds. So first round has been already started since February 22, and second round will be starting from March 22, 2021, in pre-identified 250 district urban areas across 29 states, union territories in the country. The children and pregnant women who have missed their vaccine doses during COVID-19 pandemic will be identified and vaccinated during the 2 rounds of IMI 3.0. Each rounds will be for 15 days. So this is how they are, after the pandemic, they are starting with this IMI 3.0. So this was about Mission Indradhanush, which is actually introduced by Government of India. So now next one is new vaccine. What all new vaccines has been introduced? And as students, we should always update our knowledge. You people should always update what all vaccines are coming newly in our immunization schedule. Slowly and slowly, this vaccines also will be getting added to our immunization schedule. So the first one is inactivated polio vaccine, IPV. I have already discussed about this. IPV has been introduced in UPI as a part of global polio endgame strategy. IPV was introduced in November 2015, initially in 6 states, which was expanded across the country by April 2016. So second vaccine is rotavirus vaccine, RVV. RVV has been introduced to reduce mortality and morbidity caused by rotavirus diarrhea in March 2016. It has been introduced in 11 states, that is Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Assam, Tripura, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh. The vaccine will be expanded across the country in 2019 and 2020. Next vaccine is measles, rubella, MR vaccine. India is committed to the goal of measles elimination and rubella control, and to achieve the goal, MR vaccine was introduced in the country through a campaign mode in a phased manner in 2017. Next is pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, which is also said to be PCV vaccine. So PCV has been launched in May 2017 for reducing infant mortality and morbidity caused by pneumococcal pneumonia. It has been introduced in Bihar, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and 19 districts of Uttar Pradesh and 18 districts of Rajasthan. So next is tetanus and adult diphtheria, TD vaccine. So TD vaccine has been replaced with TD vaccines in UIP to limit the waning immunity against diphtheria in older age groups. TD vaccine to be administered to adolescents at 10 to 16 age, 10 and 16 years of age, and to pregnant women. So now what Government of India is planning means the tetanus toxoid vaccine, which is actually provided to pregnant women and children. So it has to be replaced with TD vaccine, that means tetanus and diphtheria both. So these are certain new vaccines which has been introduced by Government of India. So as we are in a COVID era, so we should be aware what all vaccine is invented by our country, that is India. So you all are aware there are two vaccines which has been introduced or which has been produced by India. So that is Covaxin and Covishield. So first we'll see about Covaxin. This is a made in India vaccine developed by experts of Bharat Biotech and backed by ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, and National Institute of Virology. The study procedure is to take the Covaxin in 2 days, spaced apart, so as to activate the immune system and guard against viral infection. It can be stored at room temperature for a week, making it suitable for transportation. So the basic, you can say, what is drawing our attention is this particular vaccine can be stored in room temperature and for just a week, but it is very suitable for transportation. So Covaxin is the first vaccine which is introduced or made in India. So there are certain problems with the vaccines also. So according to Bharat Biotech, what they are saying is there can be mild reactions or mild infections after getting vaccination. So that is same for all. So as a healthcare professional, we are already aware that if you're taking a polio vaccine or you're taking any of those BCG vaccine, so after that there will be a slight fever, there will be fatigue in the particular patient, or there can be pain at the injection site, or there can be rashes at the injection site. So that is quite common. So in the same manner, while taking Covaxin or Covishield, there can be certain symptoms which will be showing. So for Covaxin, the certain symptoms are injection site pain, fatigue, fever, headache, body ache, nausea, abdominal pain, dizziness, sweating, cold, and cough. So these are certain symptoms which you will be visualizing yourself whenever you will be taking this Covaxin dose. So second vaccine is Covishield. The second made in India, Covishield was developed by experts at Pune-based Serum Institute. This vaccine is also administered in 2 doses. It has shown more promises, 60 to 70% in global trial, making it one of most effective. Covishield is suitable for transport since it is effective at temperature of 2 to 8 degrees Celsius for 6 months. So Covishield is actually so I myself, I am actually vaccinated with this Covishield. So there are certain symptoms which you will be visualizing, but there is nothing to panic with this particular vaccinations. So as healthcare professionals, we should always promote those vaccination, even if there are certain symptoms which you will be like you will be having yourself, but all those symptoms will subside just within 24 hours. So for Covishield, the SSI Serum Institute of India says that some mild adverse event can happen following immunization. So those symptoms can be injection site tenderness, injection site pain, headache, fatigue, myalgia, discomfort, pyrexia, chills, and nausea. So I just want to show a statistical data of individual received COVID-19 vaccine till 10th March 2021 by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So what it says that the people who have taken the vaccine, so healthcare workers, those who have taken the vaccine, that is 71,70,519, and those who are being administered with second dose vaccine, they are 39,77,407, and FLWs, that means those frontline workers who have worked during COVID-19 pandemic. So the first dose is taken by 70 lakh 31,147 people, and second dose is taken by 5 lakh 82,118 individuals. So now we have started with 45 to 60 years with comorbidity cases also for vaccination, and even over 60 years. So first dose is being given to 9,29,359 individuals in that particular age group. And over 60 years, the first dose is taken by 59 lakhs 99,143. So this shows that we are quite lagging behind even in the case of COVID-19 vaccine, because being healthcare professional, you can see only 71 lakh healthcare professionals have been vaccinated. So what I want to tell you through this medium is we should take vaccination concept quite seriously. COVID-19 vaccination might be, it may cause certain symptoms in you, or certain complications can be there, but we should always communicate it to our patient in a positive manner that they will be taking the vaccination and they will be protecting themselves. So what is the new initiative in this cold chain management system means? What all new things has been introduced this cold chain concept means. The first one is capacity building. So government has actually made national cold chain training center in Pune and even in Delhi have been established to provide technical training to cold chain technicians in repair and maintenance and cold chain equipments. So basically there are two training centers. So in those training centers, they are providing technical training to the individuals so that properly the cold vaccines can be maintained. So second one is National Cold Chain Management Information System to track the cold chain equipment's inventory, availability, and functionality. So now everything is getting technologically advanced. So now easily we can even track that how many cold chain equipments we have in our particular state, and the inventories are maintained, and whether they are functionally okay or not, that can be identified. So what's the third third important thing which government of India is actually introduced means, the third one is system strengthening, electronic vaccine intelligence network. So this is even. So what it does is indigenously developed even tracks vaccine stock and storage temperature in real time through mobile applications. So in our particular state, it is even introduced in Madhya Pradesh also. So we can easily identify that what all vaccines we have and how it is stored. So it becomes very easy. It's a kind of inventory that we already know that what all vaccines we have, and it can be utilized properly. To ensure continuation of essential immunization, services timely available of vaccine to children and pregnant mothers, even has reached 32 states and union territories and will soon be rolled out in the remaining states and union territories. Since April 8th, states are using this even app with 100% confirmation rate to track state-specific COVID-19 material supplies. So even system has been completed in 12 states in first place, that is Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, Odisha, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. Second phase is ongoing in 9 states, that is Andhra Pradesh, Daman, Diu, Dadar, Nagar Haveli, Goa, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, Tripura and Uttarakhand. So what is the role of a professional healthcare person means? The first thing as a nurse, what you have to do is positive communication style used in vaccine campaign and initiative. So I'll be always talking about nurses. So we are the integral part of this healthcare system. So, and we are the people who are communicating with every individual on a daily basis, like almost 8 hours in a day in your duty schedule. So you should be always having that positive style of communication, which should always motivate people so that even illiterate people can come and get vaccinated, and India can cover all vaccination scheduled in 100% ratio. So healthcare professionals should have the knowledge and competency in health promotion and health education, add relevant meanings and cues to act against the cause for not vaccinating, provide immunization to all children using safe injection practices involving community leaders to attract people, collaborating with other professionals in conducting camps and home visit and follow up immunized children. So this is all responsibility of every healthcare professional. So we should be providing timely immunization to all the children without any kind of discrimination. We have to use all the safe injection practices, all the rights of medications even should be utilized while you are administering a small vaccination also. Even you are giving 2 drops of polio to a child, always all safe practices should be kept in mind. So these are certain roles and responsibilities being a nurse. So that's all from my topic. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing us valuable information on history and current practices of immunization and significance of observing National Immunization Day with the achievements of milestones, nurses' responsibility while administering vaccines and type of vaccines. Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Ms. Sherin Ani Wogis, Associate Professor at Chirayu College of Nursing, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Pratish. Gratitude is the medicine. It heals mind, body, spirit, and attracts more things to be grateful for. Good afternoon to respected Chief Patron, Dr. Ajay Goenka, eminent speakers, principals, faculty members, participants, and students from various parts of the country. I take this opportunity to put my gratitude into words. First of all, I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to our Honorable Chief Patron, Dr. Ajay Goenka, Secretary, Chirai Charitable Foundation. Thank you, sir, for your presence, endless guidance, support, motivation, and encouraging us with your words on this special day. I also express a special thanks to Madam Neelam Goenka, Trustee, Chirai Charitable Foundation, for the virtuous support. Next, I would like to express the gratitude to Professor Bernice Margaret, Principal, NDRK College of Nursing, who served as a speaker in this webinar and graced us with the words of wisdom that radiated a source of energy with us. Thank you, Madam. I oblige to express my gratitude to Dr. Manshi Kishnani, Assistant Professor, Chirai Medical College and Hospital, for enlightening us with the knowledge and revealed some interesting facts about the topic. We will ever remain grateful to you, Madam. I also express my heartfelt thanks to Mrs. Nancy Lijan, Assistant Professor, Chirai College of Nursing, for the informative session and emphasis more on the role of healthcare worker. Thank you. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Professor Dr. Pramila R., Principal, Chirai College of Nursing, for her logistic support and guidance in the organization of this webinar. Thank you, Madam. I extend my sincere thanks to Dean, Medical Director, Medical Superintendent, and all HODs of Chirai Medical College and Hospital for the support and guidance in all the activities of Chirai College of Nursing. I may like to express our sincere thanks to principal, professors, and students from various colleges who have participated and believe that you have been benefited from all the thought-provoking sessions, and we are looking forward to meet you all in future endeavors. I thank all the principals for motivating your students to participate in this webinar. I keep on record our indebtedness to Director Service, IT, photographer for having done the role perfectly. Finally, our words may not be capable of communicating our sense of gratitude to teaching and non-teaching staff for their involvement and their willingness to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. Once again, thank you all and have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am. All the participants will be receiving the e-certificate in a week time, as only 100 e-certificates can be generated in a day. Now we have come to the end of today's webinar. We shall meet soon in the upcoming events. Thank you all.